Hello everyone. The success story that is Te Akau began some 40 years ago at Te Akau Stud, founded by David Ellis. A magnificent farm comprising 4,000 acres. Its lush pastures are situated in the heart of the Waikato, the region they love to call the Kentucky of New Zealand. It's terrific country for growing thoroughbreds. Today, Te Akau Racing is a household name in the industry, well known across Australasia and beyond, with its outstanding success on the track. Well over 70 Group 1 races have been won by Te Akau. With stables at Matamata, New Zealand and Kranji, Singapore, Te Akau has been a dominant force in both countries, winning a total of 12 premierships and producing champion horse after champion horse. Top flight elite performers that quickly come to mind, such as Darcy Brahma, Princess Cope, Probabile, Melody Bell, Te Akau Shark, Avantage, and there's many, many others. All selected by the team and the keen eye of Te Akau principal David Ellis, who for the past 17 years has been the #1 buyer at Karaka, and who of course has made significant presence across Australian yearling sales as well. With the Tangerine army of loyal owners, Te Akau has yet again achieved the rare milestone of being champion stable in both New Zealand and Singapore for the past season. Te Akau Racing smashed every racing record in New Zealand last season. The stable set a new record for domestic wins, 160, a new record for New Zealand group wins, 36 plus 4 in Australia, a new record for Group 1 wins, 15, winning almost $8 million in stakes. Trainer Jamie Richards was ranked #9 in the world in 2020-21. How is this achieved? Through dedication, energy and vision, a desire to be the best with amazing owners and a world-class team, ensuring every thoroughbred in our care reaches its potential and fulfills its promise. Let's take a look back at the season that was 2020-21 for Te Akau.
Levante down the outside, Julius, Avantage, Levante, Julius kicking again, Avantage has done it again, second over, Julius, third was Levante.
Probabile, she strikes the mare, Probabile at the 200, here's Arcadia Queen, a length and a quarter away, Probabile a length, Arcadia Queen, Probabile going well, Probabile wins it.
At the 100 metres, Imperatriz and Stormy having a great battle. In third spot is Sort of State, Imperatriz, Stormy's coming after it, they hit it. Oh, I think Imperatriz, it's the Tangerine army in the first 5 places here. The pacemaker now is on the bubbles in front from Sophisticato, Sneaky Shark and Armadillo. It's on the bubbles and Jonathan Parks, they'll be on the bubbles all night long after that. On the bubbles, what the Karaka Birds. Sort of State has shaken off on the bubbles. 3 lengths away then, and behind these next is Bonnie Lass and then Magneto, but Sort of State and O.P. Boss and KG Ride wins the Sistema Stakes and wins it brilliantly.
Carmelas went to the lead in the Guineas. Cornflower Blue tries to kick, but it's another Group 1 for guess who? O.P. Boss in it. The winner is Carmelas.
Emeralinia in front. Charmstar's going to have a crack, but she's kicking Emeralinia. She's too good in the Oaks, and Emeralinia, brilliant.
Across the track of the 250, now taking over, we've got Melody Bell out wide, swept up to them. Bowden over on the insides and for the fight, so is Avantage. It's Melody Bell, Avantage and Tiptronic. Melody Bell, ring the bell, Melody's back in town, and that is 14 Group 1s, the all-time greatest winning Group 1 winner in the history of New Zealand racing here. She's done it, Melody Bell.
Oh, what a year it was, 2020-21. David Ellis, the principal of Te Akau, is now joining us. David, what a year it's been.
Yes, it's been very rewarding. Karen and I and all the team work very long hours in this business. It's really 7 days a week, and it's just fantastic for the whole team when we get the sort of results that we've really been getting for a number of years now.
David, I've got to go back to the very start. What got you into racing?
I just love the excitement of seeing so many happy people at the races. I loved seeing the actual animals parading. I was interested in the pedigrees. I loved going to the old Trentham yearling sales in the 1970s. And I just thought this is an industry that I want to be part of. I guess it helped the first day I ever went to Ellisley, when I went with $12 in my pocket, Andrew, and came home with $84. That was a lot of money in those days, about 1972.
There's nothing like the punt when you get some extra money in your kick. What made you then start into, I know it was farming and but was it the horse or was it the punt that got you the bug?
Well, it was a number of things. It was the excitement of seeing people win races. It was the excitement of being able to make $1 on the punt. It was just a whole number of things, and particularly the yearling sales at Trentham, that just really made me excited. And it was just an industry I wanted to be part of for a very long time.
David, when you were setting it up, Te Akau, and the racing part of it, owning the stable and then employing the trainers, what made you look and develop that model?
I just wanted to be able to do things my way. I wanted to be able to employ, really top staff. I wanted to be able to have my own jockeys, and I'm just very lucky that it's all turned out so successful.
It is beautiful country, Dave. Looking at that vision, there's no wonder you get all sorts of surprises, and the good horses continue to come through the green grass of New Zealand.
Yes, it's certainly a big thrill. Just the other day, we had 2 runners in the 1,000 guineas that came off the farm here, and we've had a lot of very good horses that we've bred here, and that's very exciting too.
Dave, you had some really good trainers along the way, but I know talking to you along the road in recent years that you've liked to develop the young talent, to foster it, to bring it a part of racing. Probably Jamie Richards, your current trainer, is one of those. Is that something that you really relish, you love?
Yeah, I really enjoy working with young people. I enjoy socialising with them, and I love seeing them commit themselves to hard work, and enjoy helping them reach their goals. And it's really exciting to see a young person come through the grades. I never thought that I'd ever have anything to do with somebody as good as Mark Walker, but Jamie's certainly heading in that direction. And they're both incredibly hard workers, top people to work with, top people to have a beer with, and top people to really roll up their sleeves, get stuck in, and really do the hard yards.
And Dave, on that point, you mentioned Mark Walker, who's now in Singapore, and Jamie Richards looking after New Zealand, but the staff under him, and the farm staff and all that sort of stuff. I presume, I reckon you still love getting out on those open paddocks and working with them.
Yeah, well, just this morning on the farm, I got huge excitement when Steph came to me 10 minutes before we were meant to start work, and she said, I broke that Fastnet Rock filly in February, and it was just so great to see the thrill and the excitement that she got out of that filly winning a stakes race at her very first start. And that's the sort of thing that keeps me really charged and excited to be part of the industry.
You've been one of those leading buyers over the past couple of decades, Dave, and I've seen you at many of the sales in Australia, and we see you in New Zealand. The part of that, what's the excitement? Is it picking out one from the very start, or do you just love beating the others amongst the bidding?
No, the real competition is who gets the best horse from each sale. And that's something that I'm pretty proud that I can hold my head up very high. But it's just an exciting industry to be part of. You see owners that come to the sales and they appreciate that for the last 2 months before that sale, I've done literally nothing else but work on looking at the horses, looking at the pedigrees, analysing the pedigrees, trying to work out which is the best horse. So that's the competition, the person that gets the best horses out of the sale each year. And when you get a filly like Melody Bell for 57,500, it's just a thrill that lasts years and years.
And it's seeing those people not only in the ownership, but just the story of Melody Bell, for example. What about you, David? What's your drive of ambition? You know, is it the continued success of trying to find another Melody Bell?
Yeah, well, I'm determined that we're going to take Te Akau Racing to the next level as soon as we can. We're going to really concentrate on setting up a base in Australia. And we're going to really try and do this at the absolute elite level. And we're going to give our owners the opportunity of being able to race in Singapore or New Zealand or in Sydney and Melbourne. And it's going to happen. And I'm really determined to make it happen and really determined to succeed at the very elite level. And we're going to really look forward to the yearling sales here in March, and we hope that we can buy our next Karaka Million winner.
Well, talking of that fact, I mean, the first four in a Karaka Million would be an unbelievable highlight for you, Dave, and the whole team there.
Oh, absolutely, because, you know, the work that goes into getting these horses to perform at that level is a thrill of a lifetime. And I think in the last 5 years, we've won the Karaka Million. I think we've Cornelled it 3 times, and the first 4 last season. So you can't get a bigger thrill in your life, no matter what you're doing, than that.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. What about the moments you send horses to Australia in addition to the tangerine colours in New Zealand? The win of Probabeel over Zaki. Zaki at the time was on everybody's lips, Dave. You must have been thrilled when Probabeel got to the inside and finished over the top of them.
Yes. Well, Probabeel, of course, I bought for Brendan and Joe Lindsay, and it's always a massive thrill when you buy a filly at that level that goes on to win Group 1s in Australia. But to beat Zaki that day was just as big a thrill in life as you can get. And I often feel sorry for people that aren't involved in this exciting industry, because I'm sure they don't have as much fun as we do.
No, I can go with that. And even like Probabeel and a grand campaigner for you that maybe we saw the best, I'm not too sure, Te Akau Shark. How did you rate him when he was up and going and winning the Group 1s for you?
Well, Te Akau Shark was a typical New Zealand horse. He wasn't a 2-year-old. If he hadn't have had that problem with his eye, he would be still racing now. He was just untapped. He was a brilliant galloper, and he had the best ahead of him. But that's racing. So we just concentrate on the great thrills that he gave us. We had the thrill of a lifetime at Riccarton one day when he won the Ray Copeland Stakes. We had another great thrill at Te Rapa when he won a Group 1, and then when he won his Group 1 in Australia and went on and ran 3rd in the Cox Plate. These are terrific, exciting times.
They are. The Ready to Run sale is always a successful one. With the last few years, we know that people haven't been able to go, Dave, but people have still been very active, including yourself. And I guess when we talk about the Shark, we want to talk about Ginger Nuts. He came through the Ready to Run sale.
Yeah, Te Akau Shark and Ginger Nuts both came through the Ready to Run sale. And it's a sale that internationally has left a lot of very good horses. And I'm certain that we've bought some more Group 1 winners this season. We bought 11 this last week, and we're lucky that all our owners are getting involved and supporting us. And we're looking forward to seeing these horses perform on the racetrack in the not too distant future.
And I reckon, Dave, just on Ginger Nuts, he was a stable favourite, wasn't he? People loved to see him, whether he was just walking around at the stable, talking with staff there, and even Jamie Richards. They just loved seeing Ginger Nuts.
Yeah, he was a very, very loved horse by not just the staff at Te Akau Stud and Matamata at the stables, but the public seemed to just absolutely take to the horse. Yeah. And the number of phone calls and emails that we got from people asking about Te Akau Shark and Ginger Nuts is just quite incredible. And Ginger Nuts is still here, and he was actually ridden on the farm this morning because Steph and the team that are breaking the horses in here at Te Akau Stud use him as a lead pony, which he loves doing.
He'd love being around other horses. Dave, appreciate you joining us to start. We're going to get you back a little while later with Jamie Richards, but thanks for joining us right now.
Good, Andrew.
Thanks, David. David Ellis there with his opinions about going forward at Te Akau. But when you want to learn about the full story of Te Akau, you can go to David's better half. Karen Fenton Ellis is joining us. Karen, we'll get the winning info from you.
Well, I'd like to think so, Andrew, but great to be joining you today, and some exciting times and opportunities to speak about.
It is. And what about the tangerine? It's a beautiful colour. I was going to ask Dave, where did it all start? Where does the tangerine come from?
I think that's a really good question. And from memory, I remember when I first met David and I said to him, look, I really love your orange colours. I only said the word orange one time. Obviously they are tangerine, the Te Akau tangerine, pretty much a dream team, but David said when he was designing his colours all those years ago, he wanted to ensure that he had colours that were easily spotted out on the racecourse. And you and I probably both know from our time in broadcasting, sometimes when I've been looking through the field for certain horses when I've been working, they've been difficult to pinpoint. That's no offence to anybody's colours in particular, but he wanted dynamic colours that stood out. And I think once again, he got what he wanted and achieved that.
He did with the tangerine. They certainly stand out, like your winners do. And I wanted to talk to you about syndication because it is so important. Sometimes people look at Te Akau and maybe think, oh, can we get some interest in there? How does it all work? How does syndication go?
I think it's a really good question too, because, you know, Andrew, often what people hear about or read about are the headline acts out of the sales. And I understand that. You know, Novare, who won the Group 1 2,000 guineas for us a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago at Christchurch, it was an $800,000 purchase. And of course, that was a crucial success for his future at stud. And I mean, that's basically assured. But sometimes I wonder if people don't realise just how easy and accessible being involved with Te Akau is, because we buy exciting young horses across all price ranges. And, you know, there's nothing like getting involved in a horse, your own horse, the anticipation, the build up when they trial and they get to the races. And, you know, you can get dressed up, you can have a flutter, there's the fashion, there's the field. I mean, there's no experience like it. And the best thing is we make it really affordable and very accessible.
Okay, so let's just talk about how people can do it. So if you live somewhere in the world, it might be Australia, New Zealand or somewhere, how do they get in contact? How does it all evolve?
Sure. Really good question too, because we have owners from all across the world. In fact, we've got a large number of Australian owners. They say they love being involved with us, and when the bubble's back, they'll be able to pop backwards and forwards across the Tasman. In fact, our last few Karaka Million winners, for example, Cool as a Bill 2 years ago and this year on the bubbles, have a strong, yellow and green sort of vein running through them,
Yeah.
very excited Australian owners. So basically what happens is all of the horses we buy, most of them, and it's a very different model at Te Akau. So although we do syndicate horses, and I'm a licensed approved syndicator with New Zealand Thoroughbred Racing, we are a different model. So we own our stables, as you know, and our team works with us and for us. We buy 99% of these horses on spec. So that means David goes to the sale. We sort out the horses over a long period of research and learning and inspections about the horses, the quality that we want to have in the stable to train. Then we go out and buy them. Yep. We back ourselves to then sell the shares to new owners and existing owners. They all go up on our website, and anybody, anywhere across the whole wide world can be involved for as little or as much as they like. And it's a recipe that works really well. So, especially in the days of a pandemic, there are no boundaries, there are no national barriers. You can jump online, you can be involved with Te Akau, and we are the world's best communicators you'll ever find. So it's from the selection to the communication, just making owners feel really part of something and basically treating them the way we would like to be treated ourselves.
The key to that is that often people like I go to the sales and we always talk about the highest price lots. But David made a point earlier that Melody Bell was $57,500 or something like that. That, you don't necessarily, people can be a bit spooked by it. That's not the case.
Yeah, I think that's a fair call. I think that really is a fair call. And it's something that we work really hard to communicate. I'll give you a couple probably of my 3 examples, and I'll keep them really brief. But one of my favourite examples obviously is Ginger Nuts, who's my boy, my pet. He's not my pet. He's actually he's a working nana at the moment. But he cost $42,500. And I remember we came back from that Ready to Run sale, and you know what, Andrew? David only bought 2 horses that year, and between them they won 4 Group 1 races. So Hall of Fame and Ginger Nuts. Now Hall of Fame was a striking Savabeel. He was about $230,000 from memory. Sold him within 2 hours. Dear little Jerry took about a week to sell, which is long by our standards. People were like, $42,500. Like, is he okay? Why was he that price? And, he earned $1.3 million. He won 3 Group 1s, as you know, the Rosehill Guineas and 2 Group 1s, including the New Zealand Derby, which that's his trophy right there.
Yeah.
Another great example of that is Marcus Aurelius, who you will have seen won the Group 2 Copeland's Bakeries Mile just recently on the middle day of the Riccarton Christchurch Cup Carnival. Well, he cost $13,000. He's now won $250,000, so basically 18 times. And they're the stories that are important to interweave amongst, obviously, the high-priced yearlings as well. But we do really have something for everyone.
You mentioned the communication, and it's obviously very important, Karen, regarding it wherever the people might be. We know technology, you can send a note straight away. But when you buy a share into a horse, I reckon that's when you get into first, second and third gear. You'll be keeping them right up to date on where their horse is.
Yeah, a big thing. You'd be surprised how many people that get involved with us say that they've been involved in racing before and sort of found out that their horses were racing when they read it in the paper. And that's just not the way we operate. From day one, we keep people brilliantly well informed, whether it's through videos, photographs. Jamie and the team are absolutely wonderful at all of the updates they send out. And our owners can attest to that. It's pre-race, post-race, pre-trial, post-trial, jump outs and everything in between. But what's really, really important, I go back to that bottom line, is we are a family business, Andrew. Our daughter, Julie Rose, is our marketing manager. She's heavily involved in the communication, social media side. And what we aim to do is we've always sat back and said, just think we bought our first share and just a little nibble, putting our toe in the water with a horse. How do we want to be treated? What do we want to know? And, if you're not world-class and professional in your communications, people's excitement dissipates. The enthusiasm and the momentum and their whole motivation potentially goes out the window. And that's something we never want to see happen. But you've also got to think about all of your owners as individuals, and we know our owners individually. And I'll give you a prime example. We have an owner who is blind, and therefore he can't see the videos or read the updates. So we ensure that our team rings them up every week. They talk him through what Jamie is saying about the horse. We explain to him what's happening. And we do have, a few lovely senior owners too who just honestly. Email defies any logic to them. So we look after them really well.
Yeah, no, that's the key to it. We enjoy the racing life, but it's become such an important facet is when the horse retires, Karen. What happens? Is this something that Te Akau Racing has very much looked into?
Absolutely, Andrew. And I think not just us at Te Akau, but as an industry, I mean, our social conscience, our mandate to operate is absolutely cemented in how we look after animals when they first join us, literally from the time they foal right through to their racing careers. And importantly, for many of them, their post-racing careers go on for a considerable period of time. That's something that we take very seriously. And we have so many success stories under this brand, with this organisation and this family. We ensure that the future of all of our horses off the track is safe, and it's very secure. Recent example, we have a lovely horse called Richard of York. In fact, I think he did some of his racing in Australia, Europe previously. We bought him as an older tried horse, and he had a couple of seasons hurdling and also steeplechasing. He's retired recently. We had a home ready for him, but he has required quite a lot of care before he gets to that home. Yeah. So we've ensured that that's all taken care of, that's all been paid for, and he's actually almost ready to go to his new owners now, who will look after him for the rest of his days.
Yeah, fantastic. Finally, you've enjoyed some special moments. You go to the races every Saturday. It'll be me ringing you up after a quick win and try to do an interview with Dave or someone. But what's your special moment? Is there one that stands out, or is there a couple that you just go, bang, it was just that special day?
That's really difficult. And I suppose my trademark is I'm known to wear my heart on my sleeve. So probably some of my most embarrassing, awkward, squawking moments have been at the races. It was pretty special to see On the Bubbles who win the Karaka Million this year. I mean, every year we've won it, and that's 5 years in a row, all with horses that David has bought. 3 of them I've syndicated. You know, we've gone to the races, and I've said to him beforehand, well, we won it last year, you know, surely we won't win it a second time. And then the next year winds around, and I was like, oh, well, we can't defy the odds and win it a third time in a row. So by the time you get to this year and it's number 5, I said something's got to intervene fate-wise. I mean, but to bring home the first 4, and we had a young contingent involved in On the Bubbles, including Julia Rose and her husband Hamish, and it was an extraordinary event. So it's probably one of my favourite, just for seeing the sheer passion and unadulterated joy that a horse that only cost $90,000 Australian bred, $90,000 cost, and those owners have just they've had a lifetime of fun and memories.
They have, and there's a strong legion of Australians in a couple of those that you've mentioned as well. This is why you need to have a serious look at Te Akau, because of the success that Karen has told us about. Thank you very much for joining us today, and good luck with the future.
Pleasure. We'll be doing our very best.
Thanks, Karen. Karen Fenton-Ellis joining us there with all the news around how you get into syndication. Let's welcome back David Ellis. And David, the New Zealand Ready to Run sale, it's always, it's grown in popularity all around Australasia. How did you go this year?
Yes, we bought 11 horses, Andrew, some fillies, some geldings, and a couple of wonderful colts, and we're really looking forward to finding out a bit about them. All the research that we've done is very impressive, and we just can't wait to get them on the racetrack and find out which ones are going to win the next derby.
Well, let's hope so, and let's go through a few of them here, Dave. We'll start with lot 50, which is a deep field colt. Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, this was a colt that the moment I saw him at Te Rapa, I was determined to buy. I went to the property where he's trained and had a good look at him, and went back a couple of times, and he's just a colt with enormous class, and I can see him winning a 2-year-old race in March, April, and I can see him being a pretty successful 3-year-old career ahead of him.
And that's the key with these, Dave, the ready to run. You know, these horses, the owners won't have to wait around too long for their first run.
No, that's dead right. This horse is pretty much ready to go now. And we'll find out exactly whether he wants to race in February or March or April, but it'll be definitely in the late summer, early autumn for sure. He's just got so much class.
Let's move to lot 93. This is a Churchill, Dave. Tell us about you. I love hearing from you, Dave, when you see them, what your reactions are to them.
Yeah, well, a lot of people in New Zealand probably don't realise, but Churchill is a son of probably the greatest stallion in the history of the thoroughbred in Galileo. And I went to Ireland and I've seen Galileo firsthand. Actually put the cover on him one night in his box. No. And this is just a ripper of a 2-year-old. He's already been gelded, so there's not going to be the expense of that. But if this isn't a 2,000 guineas horse that goes on to race in the Rosehill Guineas, the Derby, all those sort of races, I'll be just staggered. He's got a beautiful action, a horse with enormous quality, and soon as I saw him, I knew that I just had to buy this horse. He's just got that much class. Beautifully balanced horse, a lot of natural strength, terrific hip and strength down through the Gascon, and I've just loved this horse from the moment I saw him.
We've certainly learnt that we've got to trust your eye, Dave. And another one that we should focus in is lot 107 from the recent sale, the Savabeel. And when we think of New Zealand, you think of a strong Savabeel, don't you?
Yeah, you do. And I think the best Savabeels have been out of O'Reilly mares. So this has the famous Savabeel O'Reilly cross. And just look at this horse walking. He has a lovely action, lovely loose stride, horse with a tremendous amount of quality. And I just think this is the next Novare. He'll probably be like Novare and win a 2-year-old race in the autumn. Then we'll spell him. We'll take him down to Riccarton nice and early for the 2,000 guineas and try and race in that sort of race. And then we'll get him ready for the derbies in the autumn. And he's a full brother to a horse called Milford, who ran second, just beaten in the New Zealand Derby. He was a top horse. And the mother is a half sister to Sacred Falls, who was a great stallion himself. So this horse has a beautiful pedigree. He was as nice a colt as I've seen at a ready-to-run sale in the last 5 years. And he just wants to be a racehorse. And it's really exciting and gives you a huge charge when you have the owners that'll support you to buy these sort of quality colts. This is a beauty.
Righto, so there's 3 of them, lot 50, lot 93 and lot 107 from the recent New Zealand ready-to-run sale. Hey, Dave, don't ever lose your passion, mate. I can hear it in your voice. You love getting to a sale and picking something out, don't you?
Yes, it's the real thrill, of course, is winning the Group 1s, but it all starts at the sale ground when you see these horses. And it's just great that I can give my wife Karen to keep her busy. She doesn't play golf, but she loves selling horses, and she's so good at it, and she loves keeping the owners informed, and that's what keeps me so charged.
Well, Dave, it's great. Make sure you're part of it. Go to the website, check out more about Te Akau and those ready-to-run yearlings there, lot 50, lot 93 and 107. Thanks, Dave.
You're welcome.
Thanks to David Ellis for joining us, and we've kept the best till last. Well, that's what they tell me to say, so I've got to say it. The trainer, Jamie Richards, joins us. Welcome, Jamie.
Hello, Andrew. How are you?
I'm very well indeed. I've got to ask you off the top, we hear from you regularly about being the trainer and the like, but tell us about yourself. Where did you get to? Where did you come from to Te Akau?
So I guess probably the starting point for the racing background was Dad was a jockey and a trainer, and now has come up and works for us here in Matamata. But I guess I got the bug sort of going around the races with him when he was riding when I was growing up. Always used to I love, getting in the car as a young fella and going around and sitting in the jockey's room and seeing what was happening. And I guess that was probably my first true sort of passion was riding and riding track work and riding at the trials and hoping to be an apprentice. But I was going to get too big, and mum and dad were keen for me to get an education and maybe stay at school instead of sort of dropping out. And I went to Otago University and got a degree, and that's where I met David and Karen's daughter, Julia Rose, and that's sort of how the relationship started, I guess. And it's sort of gone from there. I was lucky enough to do a bit of traveling and work for some different trainers in New Zealand and Australia. And I was fortunate enough to be selected for the Sunline Scholarship, which is a fantastic opportunity, sponsored by the New Zealand Thoroughbred Breeders Association and the McKee family. And that was spending some time at Cornwall and Ireland, Cheveley Park in England, and TaylorMade in the States. And that was an amazing opportunity. Really can't thank them enough for that. That sort of got me going and building some relationships on a worldwide scale. And I came back and did a little bit of time at Waikato Stud for the Chittocks, and did a little bit of time at New Zealand Bloodstock. And ultimately, I sort of felt like racing was my passion, and ended up coming and working for Te Akau for David and Karen and Mark Walker, firstly as the racing manager. And then when things, sort of had a little bit of a shuffle up, I went into a junior partnership role with Stephen Ortridge, and the rest is history. So it's been a big, sort of 8 years. I think I've been there maybe 8-9 years, but I can't thank them enough for the opportunity that I've been given.
The opportunity to train the calibre of horse that David purchases at the sales, and then you've been able to create their lives. You must get great satisfaction about that.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest part of Te Akau's success is that the boss goes out and buys, what he can with his owners. And, for example, horses like Probabeel that we then sort of end up back in the stable through Brendan and Joe Lindsay after Dave buys them. That's the quality that you need to be competitive on those big days. You'll get the odd horse that sort of comes up out of nowhere with not a lot of pedigree, but ultimately you've got to be going to the yearling sales or whatever sale you go to, and buying good types from good families, and that's where we get our kickstart. I think is we sort of believe that the start of it all, the winning post is in the sales ring, and that's why the boss is so strong, whether it be at Karaka on the Gold Coast at the Magic Millions or at Easter. Try and buy as many nice horses every year, and I think that's a big part of the success, Andrew.
Jamie, in regard to horses that people know, like the Probabeels and the Perfect Pink, who we're starting to know now out of New Zealand, Savillon Blanc, there's been a list of them away from the ones that we've featured already. To get the horse, to nurture them, to get them to start winning their races and then win Group 1s. For you as a trainer, did you ever think that you'd be able to be in this position?
Probably not. But, through a lot of hard work and an amazing team behind us, whether that be vets or farriers or the staff that we have here at Te Akau, Dave's made a concerted effort to try and get the best possible people to sort of surround ourselves with, people that are able to train in their own right, and all the young kids that are sort of coming through, whether they be coming off scholarships or people like Sam Burgesson who are the next sort of generation coming through. I think not only is it about the horses, it's about the people and the wonderful staff that we have and the wonderful owners that we have that, back us, when we go to the sales and buy the horses.
So, Jamie, let's look at a couple of these lots now from the New Zealand Ready to Run sale. And we'll start with a Savabeel, because when we think of New Zealand, we think of Savabeel and how strong they can be. This is lot 114.
Yeah, we thought he was a standout. He's out of a Fastnet Rock mare who we've enjoyed so much success with, and he's a neat, racy sort of colt. He's a first foal. We've had a lot of success with those as well, and he's got a lot of speed in his mother's side of his pedigree, a lot of 2-year-old form, a lot of fast form, and we think that's a good cross. For example, if you take Novia, he was out of a a stakes winning 2-year-old from a really fast family, and he looks an ideal sort of autumn 2-year-old, hopefully a 2000 Guineas colt for the spring. And we've built a really good record in that race, and hopefully this is a sort of colt that can keep us going in that vein of form.
That's lot 114. Another one that's still available is lot 155. This is a Tavistock filly, and you know these stallions over there, Jamie. What made you and David be attracted by this one?
Well, this was a standout when we went around and saw the horses at the farms. She's a beautiful filly by Tavistock, who's really come of age since his untimely passing. He's out of a Zabeel mare who they've crossed, Tavistock's crossed particularly well with. And obviously, you know, we've got on Trevier here, who's a Tavistock mare that we've had a lot of success with. So it always gives you a bit of confidence to go back to the well. And these Tavistock fillies are, you know, they're a dime a dozen now. They're not making many more of them, and a lovely opportunity to get involved with a, you know, staying sort of filly, I would have thought. 3-year-old, you know, hopefully Guineas Oaks type of filly that really stood out. I think she's got a lot of improvement to come. I just had another look at her at the stable here this afternoon, and you know, we're really looking forward to getting to know her in the next 2 or 3 weeks as we build her in towards a jump out or two, and then possibly off to the trials.
We know that we've got yearling sales coming up all around Australasia, but the Ready to Run sale, it gives you the chance that these horses, as I said to David earlier, Jamie, could be running in the autumn.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, some of the horses need a little bit more time than others, and that's just part of sort of getting to know them and giving them that little bit of time. But it's just a sale that we've enjoyed a huge amount of success out of. Horses like Ginger Nuts and Te Akau Shark and Savabeel colt called Hall of Fame, who ended up in Hong Kong doing a really good job up there. So you sort of stick to what you know. We've got our ways that we like to do a bit of homework on them. You know, type and pedigree are important. The breeze, I think you can be a little bit forgiving there if you see a good action and possibly they're a little bit new. So it's something that's worked well with us, you know, for us before, Andrew, and hopefully we'll continue to do so.
Jamie, as the trainer that looks after all these with a great team under you, I've got to ask you, I'm always intrigued by this one. What time of the morning do you start work?
Yeah, it's pretty early. We don't need to talk exact times, but
yes, we do.
We can say well before sunrise, but
do you sleep?
Yeah, a little bit. Go to bed early, get up early. Pretty simple equation, really. I sort of believe that you've got to be there leading from the front, and if the staff are there slaving away and you're nowhere to be seen, I don't think that does a lot for team morale. So I like to get there early and have a look at the horses and think about the day ahead and make sure that they've eaten well and that they're happy and comfortable in their boxes and that we've got a good start to the day. So yeah, we work pretty hard, but the results are there and that's what drives us.
Well, that's the key to Te Akau. I will say, though, I don't think too many staff members beat Jamie to the stables first thing in the morning. I think he might be the first there, but that tells us about the brand of Te Akau Racing, that they're there for success. Appreciate your time today, Jamie, and good luck for 2022. Some portions of the world are opening up, mate, and Te Akau's Tangerine are going to be there.
Absolutely, yeah. We hope that we can get back across to Australia, and we've got a nice filly there that we debuted on Saturday that we're hoping to take back to Aussie for the Magic Millions in January. So certainly plenty of exciting racing and sales to look forward to, and can't wait to be a part of it.
Bright blue sky is that 2-year-old. Thanks for your time, Jamie.
Thanks, Andrew.
Jamie Richards joins us. He's the Te Akau trainer, and that completes our special regarding Te Akau Racing. Always watch for the Tangerine. Always watch for the trainer, Jamie Richards. They've got quality jockeys a part of their team, including Opie Bossum. And make sure you Google. Go and check it all out around Te Akau Racing.
Imagine winning the Group 1 New Zealand Derby.
Shot again, Ginger Nuts has dumped them in the Derby.
Or a Group 1 at Royal Randwick.
Te Akau Shark went over the top.
Te Akau Racing, New Zealand's #1 stable, bought those horses from the Ready to Run sale. After winning more races, group races and prize money for owners than any other stable, it's action time again. Shares are available on exciting young horses, and winning is a way of life at Te Akau. Visit teakauracing.com.